Hello, everybody. Elizabeth Meigs with Elizabeth Inspires, and I am coming to you today to talk a little bit about the message from our sermon at church because it really spoke to me. And once again, God is constantly giving me divine downloads, letting me know the messages that I need to deliver. Some of you may have been following me for some time, but some of you may not know anything about me. For those of you who don't know me, I invite you to check out my website, elizabethinspires.com, and you can learn more. The sermon today was talking about how God will wreck the world, but with the wrecking of the world, he will bring comfort because his way is always better. I can speak to this because he chose me to be one of his messengers, specifically to those who are suffering through unimaginable challenges that make you feel alone, like no one cares in the world. I used to feel like that so many times a week for years throughout high school after I was severely injured in a car accident at the age of 14 that actually left me fighting for my life. I had a very narrow chance of survival, but look at me today. I'm still here, and that is only because of my purpose and God's plan for my life. You see, on those days that I would come home from school, throwing myself to my knees, crying out and asking God why he did this to me, what did I do to deserve this? That's when I would get my answer. And it would come in the form of a voice on my heart saying, I have a plan for you. You can't stop. You have to keep going. It would be in that moment that an overwhelming amount of comfort and peace would wash over me. And I knew that that was God answering me to let me know that he didn't do this to me, but he was right there beside me, wanting me and willing me to turn to him, to ask him to be my strength to carry me through. This would be when I would begin turning to him every single day, no matter what was happening in my life, whether it was good, whether it was bad, the good, the bad, the ugly, all of it. Despite the circumstances of the world, I was always turning to him. I was alone. I felt like I had absolutely no one. But I learned I could talk to him because despite the fact that I knew he knew what I was going through, I needed to talk. Talk to someone who knew what I was going through, and he was the only one. That's when he began to make a way, to help me to make the right choices so that I could do his will with my life. You see, I knew he was the only one who could bring me that comfort and peace. Jeremiah 29:11 says, For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not harm you. Plans to give you hope in the future. You see, I can see so clearly now that he has always been my hope. And I always had a future. I had no idea what that future was, other than in those moments of complete darkness and emptiness, I began to learn that I couldn't stop. I had to keep fighting because I was going to have to be one day for someone else exactly what I needed in those moments. I didn't know how, and I didn't know when, but my faith and trust in his plan would keep me going no matter what. It was through turning to him that he healed me. With my surrendering to his will and that being the number one thing I wanted in my life, I was saved. I am sharing this with you because it is no different for you. You see, the dreams on my heart that died in that car accident would begin to shift, and they perfectly aligned with my purpose and God's will. It is no different for you. What are the dreams on your heart? You may not know what your purpose is. I get it. I didn't know for years, but I had to keep stepping out and being intentional, taking action. Did I know how? No. And trust me when I say that it was definitely no walk in the park. It was hard, very hard. I was left wanting to give up so many more times than I can even count. But that's when the voice would come over my heart again, continuing to push me towards Him. If I can do it, I know you can too. Each one of you watching this, you're all here for a reason, because this message is for you, or someone that you know and love. I have absolutely no doubt in my mind that you have everything within you to make the dreams and the goals on your heart a reality. But you can't stop. You can't give up. Those dreams, those are what fulfill you. They are what lights you up when you talk about them. They are a part of your purpose and God's plan. I can tell you that it won't be easy, but if I have learned anything over the past 2+ decades, it is that nothing worth doing ever comes easy. And those dreams want you as much as you want them. Don't ever stop. It takes living intentionally and taking action. It's when we get lost and begin going after worldly things, seeking comfort and peace from things that are not of God, that we become lost. I have done it, made choices that weren't right for me, that left me in a situation of being manipulated and put to shame repeatedly, told that the dreams that were on my heart were not ever going to come true, leaving me once again feeling empty over and over again. But you know what? God had me, because despite my making mistakes and wrong decisions, I continued to turn to Him through those wrong decisions. I hadn't quite realized that these decisions were wrong, so I was continually asking Him to lead me. And you know what He did? He turned it around for the greater good. You see, He had brought certain people into my life before I got into this situation so that I could become stronger and more confident in what He was calling me to do, so I could believe a little stronger, having absolutely no doubt about what my purpose was before I ever got to that point. He also, during this difficult time, continued to align me with the people I needed who saw my value and encouraged me, so that I wasn't only just hearing the negative, I was getting confirmation from others about His plan, keeping my hope and my faith and my dreams alive. I am going to ask you, what are you allowing in your life? Look at who and what you are doing and surrounding yourself with, because it's when you surround yourself with good and people who lift you up, that will be what builds your confidence and keeps you going, just as it did for me. 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verses 13 through 16 says, God keeps His promise, and He will not allow you to be tested beyond your power, but it is with your testing He will give you the strength to endure it, and so provide you with a way out. And that is exactly what He did for me. I was in such a bad place, not able to fully fulfill His will, being constantly knocked down. But it was His voice that was always stronger than those external forces of the enemy trying to break me back down to where I was as a teenager, holding me back so that I couldn't succeed. It was only through my faith and trust in His faithfulness to me that I finally saw, in His perfect timing, my way out. And I actually began to understand things that He had been orchestrating in my life almost exactly 6 years earlier. that I had actually questioned and never understood that would actually lead me to making those wrong decisions, those wrong choices. I am sharing this with you to give you hope. Just as God has always been my hope, that is what I am here today to offer you, hope. Hope is a part of my mission, where I partner with God to offer you healing that opens pathways to peace, empowerment. You see, He brought me clarity over the last year that through His grace and mercy, I was able to learn and develop through the school of hard knocks strategies that would help me to survive every single struggle that tried to break me and keep me knocked down. That is how my pathway to peace came about. For it is my strategies on how to overcome that got me through. If you have found value in this, please follow, like, and share, as well as stay tuned because God is continuing to move and giving me the exact steps that I need to take. I am in the process now of turning my pathway to peace into a self-paced intensive that you can do on your own. He continues to open doors for me to speak on stages that I need to be on so that I can help those that I am equipped to help, that He equipped me to help. If you have any group or an organization who need this message, please reach out to me so that we can chat. And I am finally working on my book, which I have been being told I needed to write for over a decade. If you still have questions, I encourage you to keep turning to Him. And if you aren't getting answers, be patient. I promise you, He will let you know in His perfect timing. And that's when everything will finally make sense and bring you the peace and the freedom that you've always longed for, just as it has for me, because He is the only one who can. One last thing, if you need something to help you now, I encourage you to click on the link in the comments to download my EI method. It will help you during your challenges to gain perspective and be able to channel your energy where it needs to be to help you through. One last thing that I never want you to forget is that the challenges that you face today make that victory so much sweeter once you're finally able to break through. So don't ever give up. And know that when you are lacking belief in yourself, I am here and I believe in you. I know that you have everything within you to be able to break free so that you can finally fulfill your destiny.